Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Mr. Lewis back at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about how to become a world-class thinker. So we're going to be talking about being in your head and why being in your head is actually awesome, as opposed to most people. They tell you get out of your head in order to be more charismatic, and sure, there's the time and place for that, but it's not entirely bad either to be in your head. So in this video we're going to be talking about how to actually manage that properly in order for you to be in your head and make the most use out of being in your head. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Before we start though, make sure you subscribe. I need subscribers. I'm trying to get more subscribers. Every time I shoot a video, I'm trying to aim at least for 1 subscriber every single time somebody watches my video. So please, if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that like button as well. And make sure you comment, if there's a specific topic that you want me to cover, or you have any sort of opinion based on, what I'm about to say in this video. And so, or you would like to add on something as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So becoming a world-class thinker. So here's the thing, introverts, for the most part, it comes very natural to get in your head. So for the most part, you always feel like, living in your head, you're always having thoughts, you're always having opinions in there, you're always having ideas and potential things that you can do in the future, or perhaps you're processing something that you did in the past and you're still trying to understand it, so you're breaking it down over and over and over again. And here's the thing, that's never going to stop, because as you acquire more knowledge, because as an introvert, for the most part, we tend to study a lot. But if you don't, then I have a video where I teach you exactly how you can study properly to make studying a little bit more fun, especially as an introvert, of course. But here's the thing, like, let's just say that you accumulate a lot of more knowledge down the road, you gain more experience, whatever it is that you're doing. And so because of that, you can always go back and break down your experiences, more and more, because you have more knowledge, you have more experience, you have more tools and resources at your disposal in your brain to be able to break down those experiences even more and more. And, the more you're able to break them down, the more you're able to actually understand them. And once you understand those, you're able to really understand yourself to the core, which is very, very important if you're planning to attain any sort of success. So yeah, so being in your head, right? So here's the thing. Let's talk about the people who actually demonize this thing about being in your head. A lot of people say, don't be in your head. And for the most part, it's usually extroverts, because here's the thing, like, you're really of no use really to an extrovert if you're going to be in your head. Reason being is because if you're in your head, for the most part, you're just going to be quiet. You're just going to be sitting there somewhere, and you're just not going to talk. You're not going to socialize. So if this is a social gathering we're talking about, maybe it's like a work environment and you're pretty much in your head, right? Excuse me. Maybe you're just in your head because you're so focused on whatever it is that you're doing at work. And so maybe an extrovert is right next to you or something, and they want to talk to you, they want to create conversation with you, but you're just very in your head, right? So for the most part, that's going to hinder your ability to be able to socialize with this extrovert, because you're going to be so focused. You're going to be in your head. You're going to be thinking, can I do this, that? Maybe I can make this specific move. I can make this other specific move. And at the end of the day, well, you just are not able to really get out of your head because you're so focused on getting that one particular thing right. And so that's fine. As an introvert, you're going to face many, many, many times where that's going to be the case. And you have to learn to embrace it, because if you don't learn how to embrace it, then for the most part, you're going to repel this. You're going to try to not be in your head, as I was. I used to do that back in the day too. I used to have those times, and I used to feel very guilty for them because I wasn't able to really socialize. And for me to get social validation from other people meant a lot for me at the time, because I really hadn't found my purpose. I really hadn't found myself as an introvert. And this is so important. This is the reason why you need to really find yourself and understand yourself as an introvert, because if you don't, you're going to be constantly struggling between being an extrovert and an introvert, and you're going to constantly be juggling, and you're not really necessarily going to understand which one is better for you. If you're an introvert, you're an extrovert, or perhaps you're a very good solid combination of both, which is not very common, but they do exist. And so you have to determine which one you are. And so obviously, my YouTube channel is helping you understand and figure out if you are an introvert, because if you are an introvert, for the most part, you're probably going to resonate with pretty much all the content here on my channel, and you'll resonate with pretty much everything I have to say forward. And so If that's you, that's going to be awesome. That's going to be cool, because I'm going to teach you exactly, how to develop every single part of you that's an introvert. That way you're able to walk out there in the world with more confidence. You're able to carry yourself better because you understand yourself. You understand who you are as an introvert. And that's very, very, very key and very important. So like I was saying with the example, right? So you're at work, the extrovert's trying to talk to you, you're in your head, you're unable to communicate and socialize, and for the most part, the extrovert tends to think that you're, so at best, they'll tell you that you're shy. They'll tell you that, oh, you're this type of person that, doesn't really like to socialize, is that quiet person, is the smart person at best. Hopefully they say something along those lines, because that's not entirely bad, especially if they call you like you're the smart, the genius, the nerd. That's kind of a compliment at that point, because you're a genius. Who doesn't want to be a genius? Who doesn't want to be really smart, right? But sometimes you don't get called that. Sometimes you get called the opposite. You get called things like boring, weird. That's a big one, and so on and so forth. And so when that's the case, that can be quite demotivating. You can feel very bad, for being such a quiet person, and so for being in your head. And so for the most part, you'll try to avoid being in your head. But the thing is, this is not correct, because if you are an introvert and you are finding yourself that you do get in your head a lot of times, then what you have to do is actually create time. You have to create spaces within your day where you allow yourself to be in your head purposefully. Because if you don't, then you'll constantly, you'll want to get in your head, but perhaps, somebody needs to talk to you, or you need to go and talk to somebody. And so when that's the case, for the most part, you can't really be in your head, or it's going to be a constant battle between you going in your head, getting out of it, and it's like a step in, step out, and it's just very weird. So you don't want to be in that position. You want to be in a position where you can, firmly choose if you're going to be in your head or you're not going to be in your head, and you want to avoid as much interruption as possible, especially when you're in your head, because that's usually the time when you're focused, you're really in the zone, and you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing at the time that's making you get in your head, that actually gets done. Whether that's work, whether that's school, whether you're studying something, or perhaps you're, like I said, you're planning something, so you're strategizing for the future, or perhaps you're looking back into the past and you're trying to break down those past experiences. You want to be able to actually break down all those past experiences and be able to really analyze and process them and understand them and really lock them in there, because though you breaking down the past can definitely influence the future moving forward. So definitely you want to create that space within your day. So start from today. If this is you, what you've heard so far, if this is you, then make sure you proactively put yourself in that situation. You proactively know that, hey, this is me. I need to create time. I need to create that space, and go ahead and go and create it, because it's going to be the most beautiful, the best thing that you could ever do to yourself, because that's just an enormous favor you're doing to your mind. Like, finally, I can allow myself to be in my head, and I can allow myself to be out of my head, depending. Maybe you gotta socialize or something so you can get out of your head. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what you do. And just embrace it. Like I said, being in your head is amazing. You really need to do it, especially if you have this ability, because like I said, most extroverts don't have this ability. In order for an extrovert to really get that same result, like I've been saying, so maybe like I said, maybe you get in your head to study, to focus on work, maybe to break down your past experiences or your future experiences. For the most part, extroverts need help. They need somebody else to help them out. So if they're gonna break down their past experiences, they're not going to do it on their own and get in their head. For the most part, they're probably going to start sharing it with everybody that they know, and try to get them to help them out, break down everything. And this isn't very good, in my opinion, because you're sharing. First of all, you have to actually be confident enough to share your vulnerable pieces and your vulnerable parts of yourself to somebody else, and that is extremely hard, especially for an introvert. That's extremely hard for an introvert to actually open up about their toughest secrets, because it's just not happening. Because as introverts, we're pretty smart, we're pretty picky, and actually we spend a lot of time having to break down the person before we even open up. Like, I have yet to open up about certain things too, with pretty much everybody I know. Like, there is no exceptions, because that's just how introverts work. We're not just gonna go ahead and open up like that. And if you don't open up to these people, then these people can't really help you. They can't really help you break down your past experiences because they don't have the full story. So you may tell them bits and bytes here, but they're not actually gonna be able to help you because they don't fully understand. They don't have everything. So they might, give you a solution based on the data that you give them, but they don't have all the data. Or perhaps you might even be lying to them, and so now they're giving you false data altogether, because sentence such and such never even happened. So yeah, so that's why I don't prefer that route, because it's very complicated as opposed to you breaking it down yourself. Well, there's no secrets with yourself. You know the truth deep down. You don't have to share this with anybody. You don't have to share this with a therapist. You don't have to share this with anybody. You can just go and do it on your own, of course, and a trick that most introverts do is that they try to use other people's examples and try to step into a third person type of a perspective and then ask the advice from that perspective. That way it doesn't seem like, it was me, the one who went through that, but it's more like, hey, what would you do in that situation? Maybe it's through a movie, maybe it's through a book, maybe it's through some sort of example. Maybe you say this happened to somebody else and you're like, wow, like, what would have you done if that would have been your position? And so that's kind of how we get around if we really need to, get outside help, which we do at times. But for the most part, we just do it in our head. So yeah. So that's pretty much it. Create that time and don't be afraid to be in your head, because it's amazing. Like I said, not everybody has this ability. Sometimes they have to go and ask somebody else, and you just make yourself a little bit more efficient if you're able to do it on your own. And so yeah. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And please, like I said at the beginning of the video, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to my channel because I need subscribers. All right, subscribe, like, comment down below, of course. And I hope to see you guys everybody in the next video.